record is because you will never remember what you say if you channel. You will remember a little aspect of her too, but after a day or two, you have to have the recording to go back and watch yourself, and also all the questions you asked that you needed information from to help yourself. So I'll send this out to everybody once we're done. Okay, so we're going to start with a little prayer protection. So I like to close my eyes when I do this, and I just say, Heavenly Father and Mother, we're grateful for the opportunity to be together as a group today. And we ask at this time that thou will help us be surrounded by a white, wonderful bubble of your highest vibration, your highest love, and your highest good, and allow through all of the guide teams, celestial being teams, angelic teams, and any other spirit entities from your highest white light and vibration come through and assist us in this process while protecting us from any lower forms of vibrations or any physical, non-physical entities that would try to harm us in any way, shape, or form, irrespective of their intent. Keep them away and keep us safe in this wonderful bubble that you provide us. And we ask these things for something better, and so it is. So Perry, ladies first if you'd like. If not, I'll go, but I'll offer
I was
to you
just gonna
first.
say, if you would you said your ear was ringing, so I thought that meant you were gonna go first.
I know that, well, I could, but I think the ear ring was telling me to shut up because I talk too much
Oh,
sometimes. So that's what it was. It was like, enough of the monologue. Let's get going, right?
why don't you go ahead and go first?
I got my glasses off here. Let's give me a second to connect. Nathan, Nathaniel, Matthew, make your mind up. We jest. My name is Nathan, but I go by Nathaniel. Matthew likes to make jokes. It's now Nathaniel. That's one of Perry's little quips. But the truth of the matter is, names are not important to us. It is to humankind because it helps you discern one persona from another. But the truth of the matter is, we were all made from energy, and energy is a recognizable pattern. As you, as channelers, recognize, yes, your skill sets are of varying degrees, but you're all gifted with this ability, as is every human being. This is not something that's to an exclusive club. It is a connection to your source. It is something that has been hidden from you and has been hidden from humanity for eons, simply through the sense of control that the smallest portion of your population tries to hold over you, simply because they fail to see who they truly are. They live in a world of separation that leads to fears of, I must protect myself, I must take from others, or I must hoard as much as I can, resources, time, money, power, you name it. But fail to see that the more that you reach out for things outside of yourself, the further you are from discovering who you really are. For all the answers are from within. All the love is from within, and your channel connection is from within. For this physical being is made of energy. It is flesh and bone. It does have cellular structure. It is a living community of 30 trillion cells in conjunction with one another to create a community called a body. But your soul resides behind the heart center and drives this vehicle. But this vehicle is not you. But the majority of your society believes that this is all I am. And so they take matters into their own hands out of fears. And once you learn who you truly are through your connection, through your communication with your higher self, you start to relax backwards into yourself and realize, wow, I was lied to. I was tricked. I was indoctrinated. And this is the starting point for channeling, is to recognize that this is a vehicle, a biological supercomputer called a body with a mind. The two operate independently but as a collective being. But your soul is who is really here driving this vehicle, because all of this only exists for one reason, is for your soul to rediscover itself through the process of remembering. And the process of remembering occurs through living your life, through the choices and actions and activities you choose to do in your life that brings you through circumstances that reveals portions of who you are. In fact, the sunniest, beautiful days, when you look at, say, a sunset, you feel not small, but you are amazed by the beauty before you because you feel some form of connection with that sun. It's inexplainable, but it's because this is energy, your soul is energy, the sun is energy, and this is the interconnectivity that we talk about when we say all is one. So the first portion of channeling is to recognize I am not this body, I am not this mind. I am the soul that is here having this experience. Start with that. And then as you start to work towards, say, connecting to whatever aspect you'd like to connect to, your higher self, as I am connected to Matthew at this time, or an ascended master, or a collective, or a celestial being, whatever the case may be, it will be different for each. But then you can now say to yourself, okay, well, if I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, but I am a soul having this experience, then if I just quietly close my eyes and just focus on my breath and ask to hear something or to feel something or to receive a knowing, it will come. It may be subtle at first, but as Matthew has explained, channeling is no different than building your bicep. The more you do dumbbell curls, the bigger the muscle gets, the stronger the muscle gets, the more resilient the muscle gets. It's the same thing with your channeling. When you're practicing connecting, you're opening up your pineal gland. You're helping it to vibrate at a higher level, almost as if you're extending an antenna above your head. And as you do that, you bring your vibration level up through your pineal gland. And the higher you get your vibration level up, the more receptivity you can get. The best analogy we can use is AM radio. AM radio is a wavelength of radio signals that you can communicate through. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but you know that if you turn the radio on to 1010 CFRB here in Toronto, you're going to hear some guy or gal's voice talking on the radio because the technology tunes in to the frequency that's being broadcast. In other words, the radio is your pineal gland tapping into a program that was broadcasting whether you were tapped into it or not. And you dial in to that frequency by raising your frequency and connecting with the being who wants to connect with you, who, by the way, must bring their vibration level down. And the reason being is they vibrate out of body at a very high level. So, as Matthew has explained to others in the past, human beings, generally speaking, are vibrating at a rate of anywhere from 40 to 60,000 frames per second. As you eat good food, get good exercise, good sleep, manage your stressors, and of course, add on to that supplementation, your channel practicing, your willingness to connect and doing those activities, all of this brings your vibration level up and makes that connection, first of all, easier to connect to, but also to strengthen the signal to bring the information in. And the beings that are disembodied that you are connecting to, again, whether it's your higher self or some angelic team, vibrate at 300,000 above in terms of frames per second because they're out of body. So it's easier and more natural to be at a higher vibration level when you're not physically confounded by this biological supercomputer that we call a body. Matthew's level is at 144,000 and continues to climb, as is Perry's, as is many of the challengers in their group, simply from practicing a lot for the last 7 to 8 months. Naturally rises up. So their ability to connect is quicker, the information is more precise, and comes a lot more clearly without need for a lot of interpretation. And this is available to you folks. Again, it's just a desire to want to try and practice. It's a personal choice, but it's available to all human beings. And so the entity you connect with must come down from 300,000 to get closer to 144,000. There is a middle ground, there is a gray area, so it's not a complete direct connection. But again, the more effort you put into your abilities, the more willingness they are to come down, because it's difficult for them too, so to speak, to come down real low and keep that connection strong enough so that we can communicate clearly through them. But here's the purpose. The purpose is just to show yourself that you have this available to yourself. This is like walking through life with missing one arm or leg from our perspective, because the information you receive helps you to make decisions in your life. It helps align you to your true purpose and your true excitement and your true passions, because this is what the gusto of life is all about: following who you truly are, expressing who you truly are. And when you're connected to us, it's not that we're expressing ourselves through you to create an avatar for the rest of the world to like and accept and clap for you. No, we're all aspects of you in the first place. Matthew and I laugh at the same jokes. I am an aspect of Matthew. Matthew's an aspect of me. I am having an occurring experience. I am here on this planet now. I am in a ship, and I will reveal myself and see Matthew one day physically, not at this time. And it's not important when it will occur, but it will happen in his lifetime to see me physically. But for the meantime, I'm here to support him in his mission, a mission that he chose. And again, let's go back to purpose. Another aspect of channeling is to help you reveal your own plan for your life. So, one of the things that you will learn as you channel, if you haven't already, is that you are the facilitator of your life's path. You create your plan, your blueprint before you come into body. And then we make sure you forget it, because that's the whole point. You are here to learn a certain set of lessons. You're here to have a certain set of experiences that will help your soul growth gain the wisdom and knowledge it wanted to attain. And that's why it came here. So you set your plan in motion. And then when you came into body, you forget all that, because that creates the circumstances necessary to start moving your life forward, not so much in the dark, but certainly without a manual. And we know it's extremely difficult. This is why we're not here. You are the masters. The very fact that Kelly's here and Natalie's here and Aslan's here and Perry's here and Matthew's here and all the other channelers in their group, you chose to be here as volunteers. And by the way, every human being is special, just like you are, but some have special missions, specific missions to help humanity. And each and every one of you have your own special missions, and those missions are of your creation. You have a plan that you created before you came here. And part of your adventure is to rediscover what those missions are. And a part of the channeling experience is to remember who you are, remember what your gifts are, bring them to the forefront. And as you do, in parallel is the unfolding of your life's plan. And so, in a long winded way, this is the nature of what it is that we're assisting with. But make no mistake about it, this group that is together tonight are all masters that have chosen to come here, and we are the ones that are in service to you. We are the ones who are in awe and of thanks to you, because you're helping humanity move from 3D to 5D, which is another whole topic unto itself, which we may save for another evening. But we're moving humanity together as a collective. But you are the foot soldiers. You are the one in the trenches. You are the ones with the most difficult challenges ahead of you. But we are here in support, because you were the ones who are most likely to succeed. If we were, we would be here in your bodies. And this is the aspect, this is the extent of our gratitude to you. Do you have any questions?
I have a question.
Please.
When I channeled my entity, he told me that we had an agreement before I incarnated to connect so that we could speak to other people and help other people. Do you have some sort of agreement like that with Matthew?
100%. Matthew's body is tingling with excitement right now, because that's exactly what he discovered in his QHHT session. He did not know what my purpose was and why I had revealed myself to him over 11 years ago. But it was timely that we be introduced as recently as we were. Beforehand, his life was busy being a father and a husband and growing his family. But now that things are maturing and the planet's own ascension to 5D is in alignment with Matthew's, the revelation came through QHHT. But exactly how you described your plan with your channel partner, so to speak, is the same with Matthew and myself.
So when other entities channel through Matthew, is it the same situation? They've made an agreement as well? Or is it possible for just somebody who wants to deliver a message to come through when Matthew opens his channel?
We would say that a life's plan is a life's plan. Once it's baked, it's baked. So all the aspects and experiences that can happen within a lifetime are baked into that plan. However, there are also probabilities. Simply because Matthew said, I'd like to have Joshua assist me in my life's plan, doesn't quite necessarily mean that he will, because it's free will choice. So you can change your plan anytime you want to. The entire core of the plan is, we wouldn't say impossible to change, but is highly unlikely only because you want to learn certain sets of lessons and you're not going to leave until you learn them. That was the whole point of your plan in the first place. But the subtleties of the nuances, well, those can change and flex, and they're malleable. So, for example, Matthew's main focus at the beginning of channeling was my aspect, and he was comfortable with that. And then one day I surprised him, and he already shared this with you when I told him in a meditation just prior to the class, I was bringing a mystery guest. And that's when we brought Joshua through. But he's also had times where there's been no warning, and he connects and he feels a different energy and he channels it. And he will say to the group, I don't know who this is, but I trust it because he's had this prayer protection. And then through that activity, the entity reveals its name and its purpose, and it's very specific. But the other benefit of channeling within a group is that people like Perry will interject and say, oh, before you go any further, who are we talking to? So the group helps with this as well.
Well, that's what I was just gonna ask, and I think he already knows that, but Nathan, I want to know if you feel any other energies around you that might be able to come through Matthew now.
Ella's here. We'll bring Ella through.
And you know I asked that question because I felt her already.
Why am I not surprised? Thank you, Perry, for the introduction.
You're welcome.
For the group, my name is Ella. I am, we shall say, a relative of Matthew's. I am a great, 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 great granddaughter of a previous lifetime that Matthew had on my planet. So my lineage of the physical body that I inherited comes from the body he once had on our planet. And I am here in support of him in a celestial ship. And Matthew has discovered who I am relatively recently. But all the life experiences he's had that we would call the unexplainable, and again, this will be another topic for another conversation for Matthew to share with you. But I have been a part of those experiences from the day that he was basically 4.5 years old. I am here in support of his mission. We are here in support of humanity. For full disclosure is close at hand. Disclosure being revealing that you're not the only race of beings alive in the universe. In fact, our race has been around since almost the very beginning. We are one of the most ancient races in the universe. We are kind of considered to be the parents of the universe, so to speak, keeping the children in line. It's not to say that there's a lot of malevolence in the universe, but there's free will. And regardless of what form you take, how you travel, who you interact with, we all have free will to choose good over not good. The good news is the vast majority of beings are benevolent, such as us. We're here simply, as Nathaniel was saying earlier, to support you because you chose to be incarnate at this time, at a time when the planet is going through a metamorphosis of moving from 3D to 5D dimensional living. And there will be a splitting of the prism, so to speak, between the humans that refuse to open and learn and grow versus the ones that will. And the very fact that you five are here this evening puts you in a situation of knowing for sure that you are here to assist humanity with its move from 3D to 5D. How you assist will be different from individual to individual. Who comes to you for help in the future to express a desire to, say, learn or to ask questions to help them with changing their life's plan so that they can find their excitement and passion start to follow it as opposed to following the false belief systems fed to them by marketing and sales, and society in general from the past. This is our purpose, and I am here to be in support of this. And I am grateful beyond words. Again, it's been said, but I will say it again, because you're the ones that chose to be here at this time, because you're the ones most likely to succeed at your missions. Do you have any questions for me?
Ella, what planet are you from, or what is the name of your planet?
We are the mantids. So if we take a step back without freaking you out, we are mantis beings.
Mm-hmm.
Praying mantis would be the insect on your planet that would be loosely tied to us. They're related, believe it or not, but they serve a different purpose. So, albeit we have a form that is extremely different than yours and would freak you out if you saw us in the flesh, so to speak, until you were prepared properly as we were working with Matthew to prepare him. It would be too much for your psyche to experience. However, Matthew puts it best like this: a body is a body. It's just a vehicle. Doesn't matter where it came from. Doesn't matter how it operates. What's important is who's driving it. And I am Ella, a mantid, 7 feet tall, bluish green skin. But my soul is what's most important. Not the shape of my eyes or the conformity of my arms. What's most important is my intent, my benevolent intent to help you and to love you and to support you. Because love is the language of the universe. Again, there's malevolent creatures out there, but we keep them at bay because malevolence doesn't allow for technology booms and changes, doesn't allow for personal expansion to new levels. Benevolence does, not malevolence. However, we're here to protect you from, call it the troublemakers, but it's not something to be concerned of. But we say this because this is our level of love for you, is to make sure you have a level playing field so that you are successful the way that you dreamt you wanted to be before you locked your plan in and came into the body that you chose.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Thank you very much for that. Can
You're
you
welcome.
tell me anything about our moon? I've heard all kinds of different stories, and I'm curious to hear your perspective.
Well, it's not an alien base that was placed there. So the truth is, we don't get involved with the natural evolution of the galaxy We allow planets to form themselves. We allow solar systems to create themselves. What we do is we pay attention to the detail, what's going on around us, because we are opportunists. It's a difficult place to support life. The universe is not designed to be kind unless you have, say, the right incubator to live in. And that's what Earth is. It's a huge incubator. So we do assist from time to time, perhaps in certain ways, to make sure that things can remain stable, because stability brings the passage of time. The passage of time allows for evolution. Evolution allows for growth, etc., etc. The human race couldn't be where it's at right now at its current level of consciousness if it didn't have a stable environment. For starters, if you had hurricanes every day of the week in Toronto, Matthew wouldn't be here, right?
Right.
So, in terms of the moon, do we have bases on it? Yes. Can you see them? No. We cloak them. Again, not cloak and dagger. We just operate at a higher frequency that's not perceptible to you. However, how is it that some people feel that there are bases on the moon? Because those human beings practice channeling and they get the information, and we're not going to hold back. In fact, one of the beautiful things as you learn to connect to your higher aspect of yourself and to the universe in general is there is no secrets. There's nothing but the truth. How I feel about you, how you feel about me. It doesn't mean we may not have moments where we disagree, because even between races, there's always going to be disagreements. But how you carry yourself, how you desire to be, will impact how that next evolution of that relationship goes. And so channelers know that the moon has a purpose, and it's to stabilize the wobble of Earth's axis so that it can remain more stable itself, so that weather patterns and rising and falling tides and all the earthly aspects of your environment remain in a way stable enough to support life. So, is the moon natural? Yes. Is there aspects that we're using? Yes. Have you been to it? Yes. Is it any more important than that? No. It's just a beautiful thing to look at. Of course, again, we joke, but there's a lot of tug and pull in the energies between the planet and the moon itself that's very beneficial for people. And this, without going into a tangent, is experienced by females on your planet. When the moon is full, maybe you're not so having a great day. Maybe it may affect your menstrual cycles. It may affect your hormone cycles. Men to a certain extent, but different. When the moon is full, they lose their mind and do stupid things.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other questions I can assist with?
I have a question. So Matt is connected to you. Do I also have a mantid being who is working with me, or does everyone have a mantid being working with them? Or is Matt only connected to you because he's had a past life with you? How does that work? Who is connected to us, or how is that decided?
Connections are unique to each individual. You can connect with me if you'd like, Natalie. I would always be happy to support you. I know who you are. But you have a whole host of, say, family members from your past lives that are more than happy to be the ones to first connect because they have a closer aspect to you. So, in a roundabout way, don't focus on who to connect to or how to connect to. Just be willing to open and find that first connection that's the easiest for you. Work with it, strengthen that bond, as Matthew did with me. And then when the bond gets to a certain level where we feel that you're ready for the next step, then we'll introduce new entities to you. So when Matthew first took the channeling course, it was me that he connected with. And I said certain things through him that shocked him. In fact, we will repeat what we said. The first sentence we said was, "This one has higher expectations that are just unrealistic. We need to work on that." Because Matthew likes to dream big. And it's not to say that dreams can't come true, but like, oh my goodness, you can't have all 50 at the same time. But the point is, it was primarily me for the first 6 to 8 weeks. And then we brought in Joshua. And then as Matthew became more comfortable, because again, think about this for a second. It's one thing to connect to a higher aspect of yourself, but it's another thing to introduce a mantis. You have to be psychologically open, not prepared, just open to the conceptualization that this is actually happening. Because if not, your mind will shut it down, a false belief system will stamp on it, and it will never open up ever again. So, in a roundabout way, one of the things that Matthew is extremely cognizant of is where we have placed him through his own plan in the job he currently has now is amongst a thick male population of men that are broken and closed hearted. And he will be helping them in the near future individually find ways to open up their hearts, to allow in the information and the, call it sixth instinct or the gut instinct that you humans like to refer to as, which is channeling, by the way. It's just a different form, to help them with their life paths because they're unhappy right now. They're so closed. But Matthew's very cognizant of timing, and that is he cannot go to a person in his workplace and say, "Let me tell you about Ella. She's my mantis being. She's wonderful. Would you like me to channel you for her? And she'll tell you great things that'll be helpful to you." You can just imagine the reaction of somebody who is not even close to conceptualizing that even is possible or even exists. So you actually end up closing a door tighter that will never open again than if you're patient and allow time to open them up until a moment comes when sharing that information is helpful. And the same thing goes with Matthew. Matthew was not introduced to the mantis until recently. He had a reconnective healing session about 2 years ago, and I revealed myself to him physically in his mind's eye. When his eyes were closed, he saw my face. And at first he thought I was a gray. It wasn't until later he realized it was a mantid based on the superstructure of my face. But Matthew was extremely excited to see that because it was during a reconnective healing session when his psyche recognizes things like that are possible. And when things like that happen in a reconnective healing session for Matthew, he knows it's truthful. But we didn't take the next step for 2 years. He wasn't ready. We did the other steps we described earlier, and then we introduced myself to him. And then we introduced other entities from other planets that are working with him now. And so now Matthew's in a position where, kind of like old hat. Oh, a new one, come on in, right? We're all part of the same family. We all have different bodies, but they're all the same souls. A soul is a soul, just I chose an Arcturian experience. Matthew himself chose a human experience, and now we're working together. And you will discover this, Natalie, as well, as you start to work to connect to your channel. And as Perry said, and we won't steal her thunder because she has a wonderful message for you when her turn comes up, but you will learn how to connect and trust your instincts and know at your workplace when you should be considering something and when you shouldn't be, from your gut, from your instincts, from your channel connection. And then new entities will introduce themselves as you get comfortable with that. And your horizons will broaden, and your kit bag of access to other entities will broaden. And it will be different for Matthew because it's like a fingerprint. What works for you may not work for him, and vice versa.
Thank you so much. Can you give me any tips or information on how to make the initial connection with my team, and maybe how to strengthen that connection?
Harry's going to guide you through this when her turn comes. This is her expertise because she has a deep connection with you. what we'll say though is after she shares something that will work for you, it's really about just having a trust factor. And we know this is difficult. The analogy Matthew used earlier, which is stepping off a cliff, trusting that a piece of stone is going to rise up to support that foot when it comes down, is exactly the trust factor that you will learn to employ in your connection. Of course, what Perry will teach you is the best way to start, but you'll find that after a short period of time, it won't be necessary because you will have built the trust with the information coming through that you'll just do what Matthew does now, which is just start talking and see what comes through. He's laughing because he's just like, holy shit, I got this guy from work here. I think I'm crazy.
I think you're okay, Matt.
I am.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. So that was great information. Thank you.
You're
I can't wait
welcome.
to hear what Perry has to say to me.
And the other aspect is Matthew is here the entire time. As he says, he can open his eyes right now and continue, but he chooses to keep his eyes closed because it helps with his focus. But the humor is shared between us. The intelligence is coming from here because Matthew allows it to flow through, but it's the trust factor that was the challenging part to learn because you, Natalie, are a perfectionist. You want to get it right because people's lives depend on you getting it right. And this is a wonderful attribute that you have developed. This is why you are so wonderful at your job. And it's just going to take a little time for you to release a little bit of that trust factor to us. But again, we understand you are of show me, don't tell me kind of person. And as you start to gather experiences with us, you'll start to feel that trust becomes very natural and it's not an effort at some point. So you're kind of where Matthew was at the beginning, but you're also like Matthew that you will learn very quickly to open up. And it's just letting go a little bit that allows it in.
Great. Thank you so much.